I really don't know at this point with this show. Here's what I'll give it credit for. It's not nosediving. This is not a tanking kind of season. This isn't a Game of Thrones season 8. This isn't a Dexter season 7. It's nothing like that. This is not a betrayal or an abandonment. It in no way ruins the first 2 seasons. But something's off. Something doesn't feel right about this. And I don't know exactly what it is. I'm going to try and talk it through, but I haven't figured it out yet. So this is, again, kind of a double review of episodes 6 and 7, and I'll do a review of the finale when that airs next week. And then I guess I'll be done talking about Westworld. So, episode 6 had some highlight moments, for sure. I really enjoyed Charlotte Loris shooting her way out of that building. Tessa Thompson, if you pay attention, she's put a lot of really subtle touches into that performance, because the way she handles a gun, the way she shoots, is how Dolores did it. So it is, even just shooting a gun, it is so perfectly evoking the character that she is. That is not the character Tessa Thompson played before and was normally embodied by another actress. And that's great. I love that. The twist of them blowing up at the end, it caught me off guard because I didn't expect them to kill a kid. But it wasn't, that was about the only reason it was shocking. The idea of what happened didn't shock me. Just the degree to which it was taken caught me a little off guard. But, you know, that wasn't a massive twist. I like her getting up and walking away, though. That was like, ooh, dang, okay. But that's honestly, that section's about the only thing that really stood out to me with that episode. Well, no, that's not true. The stuff with William was quite interesting. This whole, him confronting all these different iterations of himself from different points in his life, and then beating them all to death, including, evidently, his childhood self, which I think they were right to not show that, but it's clearly happened. Dang, man. He's in good form again. The show is making better use of him this time. Because season 2, they really didn't know what to do with him, basically up until the point where he shot his daughter. That was pretty well done, but up until then, he was a lot of wheel spinning with him. But then, coming into episode 7, okay, I think part of what doesn't work for me so much about this season, because I said before about how they expanded the scope of things, bigger, the questions of, destiny, and can you break your programming, or in the case of now people, the expected path that has been calculated out by an algorithm for you. Can you fight against that? Do you have a choice? Or are you basically just running through program responses? I said before that part of the problem with expanding that out to all of humanity was the increase of scope. And I think that's a contributing factor, but I don't think that's the main issue anymore. I think it's the fact that the subtext has become text. And I feel like that the show didn't gain anything by doing that, and it kind of lost a layer. So what I mean by that is the show has always been dealing with 2 primary questions. What makes something a person? And to what extent do we have any control over our own lives? Now, that first one was mainly the domain of the first season, and with a little bit of the second one, then that second one really came in hard on the second season. And the thing is, even though it's asking that question, can they move beyond their programming? It's asking that question literally about machines. It is an analogy for asking it about people, because we spend so much time with the hosts, we regard them as people, even though they're machines. So it's a layer of the question is very upfront. The subtext being, we're not asking this about machines, we're asking this about humanity. And that subtext has always been there. But now they're literally just asking it about humanity. They've extrapolated out from, well, hosts and programming, humans, and this thing. I forget what they call it now. Like, it's insight, and they find another one that's got another name or whatever. And I get frustrated with things that literalize their metaphors. Because metaphorically, the hosts were stand-ins for humanity, even though they were also humans. But now the humans get to just be themselves. And so the hosts aren't standing in for anything anymore. And maybe that's part of the issue too. Expanding this question out to all of humanity makes the hosts seem less necessary. And like this is not about them as much. Because now it's about the real people of the world. But I care about these people. And their story isn't enhanced by making this a literalized bigger question about humanity. It's not that there are illogical leaps, and it's not that there are thematic threads that don't tie together. They do. That's why this is not a failing on the scale of of the last season of Game of Thrones or of Dexter. But it still is just off. And I look at that most recent episode, and some of the action was good, but the action has never been what stuck with me about this show. It's been the characters, it's been the interactions, it's been the questions being asked. And I feel like it's not handling that as well. And it's so weird to me to think that next week's the finale, because it doesn't feel like we've built to a finale. It sure as heck doesn't feel like we've built to a series finale. It's just kind of... I think leaving the park was a mistake. And I know there was literally no choice because a lot of the sets burned down. So if they were going to do a third season, it had to be something else. And it's not even that this third season is bad. It's just so different that it feels disconnected. I think for me, and we'll see if the finale turns it around for me. I'm not going to hold my breath on that. But I think for me, I'm going to consider Westworld to be the first 2 seasons. And then the third season is something else. Not a bad something else. But it's not quite Westworld. It's not quite right. I do like the simplicity of the explanation we get for why Dolores has kept Caleb around. The idea that she likes the poetry of goading a human into destroying humanity. That is an effectively simple explanation that I buy. I'll give him that. Westworld! What do you think of the most recent episodes? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. You know the things, all the things. There's links, there's likes, there's subscribes. Don't worry about it. No pressure. We take a relaxed attitude around here, and just come on back next time you need a break.